What's up, guys? It's White Raven Media here, and I just wrapped on a fantastic interview with Scott Bottoms. We talked about the struggles that is actually out on the court of not a team, not a coach, but an official. That's right. All the things that you all say and we say from the stands and the sidelines, they hear. So I talked to them about that perspective, what it's like to be able to hear that stuff and still go about your job, the struggles of what they're looking at. I just wanted to say I'm so honored to be able to talk to Scott about this topic and shed some light on something that not a lot of them get to defend themselves on. And my eyes were kind of open to what they are and what they train and how their training is like and all that stuff. Buckle up. This is a fantastic interview, a fun interview with Scott. And it could not be made possible without Seabold Heating and Air. So if you have a heating and air need as it starts to warm up, you better get those filters changed and fixed and maintenance and all that heating and air stuff. Go ahead and give Tyler Seabold a call at Seabold Heating and Air at 859-304-3121. Guys, this is a fun one. I was super excited for this because I myself have been in trouble for fussing at officials, so this is eye-opening for me. Enjoy, guys. Scott, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. So just a little bit of background before we really dive into it. You do a little bit of a lot, just as far as to say the least, from with DOE, the Danville Office Equipment, and, being part of the KHSA refs. Tell us a little bit about everything you got going on, sir.
Yes, sir. So, yes, I'm the owner at Danville Office Equipment. So that's my quote day job, and keeps me quite busy with about 30 employees and 3 different store locations. And then, of course, on the side, I'm the signing secretary for the 12th Region basketball officials. So I'm responsible for about 65 to 70 officials and assigning all of the freshman, JV, and varsity girls and boys basketball games for the 12th Region.
How long did you say you actually did officiating?
Yeah, so I officiated for right at 30 years. Was fortunate enough to referee 8 boys state tournaments. Worked 7 finals, state championships, and then I worked a semifinal one year. So it's just a passion I have, and been around it for quite a while.
What was it that got you into it? What was it about, like being in the stripes that was like, I got to go do that?
Well, if I really told the truth, I started back in the day when I went to college. I came home on the weekends from EKU, and I worked rec league games on Saturday and Sunday here for spending money. I needed a little cash to get me through the week. So after I did that for a while, I had a couple of friends that were doing it at the high school level and had encouraged me to try it. So I did that. Kind of got in my blood, if you will. As you and I talked a little bit before we started, it's not for everyone. I got in it. I got hooked, and here we are 30 years later.
The reason that I wanted to bring Scott on for everyone listening is that, there is definitely a level of, from a fan's point of view and from, an athletic and a team point of view, there can be a level of frustration with the refereeing that it can raise. And one of the reasons that I wanted to do this was because I wanted to kind of look into my own frustrations at times and figure out, like, okay, if I'm really going to say things like, oh, like the refs blew this game, or, those kind of comments that we always hear, let me put myself into their shoes. And so let me add a perspective of things that they go through and what they're seeing and what they're dealing with. And so that's kind of why I wanted to talk to you, sir. From a referee standpoint, I don't know how much you can say and how much, all that stuff like is, just kept within house. What you tell the referees on a night-to-night basis, or what you tell your teams on a night-to-night basis to be able to kind of, do you even assist in coaching them at all or helping them along as they go about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually do quite a bit of training. We have 6 meetings throughout the year where we get together either via Zoom or in person. A lot of things that we cover. We have a summer camp for 3 weeks where each official is required to attend. So there's a lot of training that goes in, and I get it. I'm a sports fan. I go to games. And the thing that people don't understand, and you go to that game 95% or better, 100% of the people there are a fan. They're a fan for one team or the other. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're seeing it through their team's eyes. Um,
Hmm.
I would like to think, and we talk about quite often our officials, um, and I don't like the way this sounds. They really don't care who wins the game. That's not important to them. These
Yeah.
guys get into it, as I told you. You know, it's a challenging job. And when you're sitting in the stands watching it from a particular angle, it's a lot different than being down there running and seeing it from a different angle. It happens within a split second, and so you know I've gotten every call right setting up in the fifth row of the stands and watching that play develop and how it should be called. You
Yeah.
get out there and run up and down, and athletes today are much quicker, faster. They jump higher. You know, boys and girls, very athletic. And so, what appears to be a very simple call, and how could they possibly miss that call? When you're out there with them, it's a little different. So we do train. We have guys. You know, we talk about what area is your primary coverage. What area should be you be watching off the ball when the ball's not in your primary area, and who's responsible for each call. And so that's what really gets people excited at a game. Is there's a guy that's 3 feet from it, and fans were wondering, well, why did he not have a whistle there? And the guy that's outside sees it from a different angle or saw something that the guy 3 feet away could not see.
And
So,
I would even ask, there must be so many things that they're looking for, right? Like it's not just that certain call that a fan saw that they're looking for. I mean, they're probably looking for what, 15 different things at a time, right?
10 to 15. I mean, and it just happens. So I always use this analogy, and maybe it's not fair. My oldest stepson officiates football, and he tried basketball one year. And no offense, I like a lot of these football officials, but we always talk about, in football, is when a play develops and I can stand there for 1,001, 1,002. Yeah, that was pass interference. So I'm going to throw my. In basketball, if you stand there 1,001, 1,002,
Oh
well, the
yeah.
other end already shooting a layup down there. And so, I just think personally, basketball is like none other.
Yeah.
It's the most difficult sport to officiate, in my opinion. And in Kentucky, where basketball is, so important, and particularly high school basketball, so many people think they know the rules and think they understand the game, when in fact, a lot of them really don't. And no
Yeah.
offense, but I was at a game the other night, and there were two gentlemen that looked, probably former athletes, looked like they really knew the game. And there was a play that happened, and they both are standing and yelling, wanting an over and back. And it was not over and back. And that's a simple call, but just
Yeah.
things like that we think we know the rules. Maybe we don't.
Yeah, and and some of that terminology, when you're making a call, I'm assuming what you're calling is the terminology and basically the letter of the law, like an over in the back. A lot of plays look like a player's jumping over the back, but necessarily to the letter of the law, it's not an over the back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, I did want to speak on something else, like when you talk about training and visuals and all that stuff. The referee's attitude while they're out on the court, because when you're hearing those things, and I'm down on the sidelines too, so I can hear both sides of the craziness that is happening with what is getting yelled at sometimes. What do you tell your guys, and what are they kind of training do they go through to be able to kind of maintain their composure and stay poised out there? Because my goodness, there's a lot of things that would set me off that would be, that gets said out there. So like, how do you even train them, or what kind of things do you say to your guys to say, hey, let's keep a level head out there?
And again, we talk about that a lot, and we have officials that are very emotional. I wasn't the best at times when I officiated, of trying to block that out, although you want to, and
Yeah.
some you're better at it than others. But again, the people that I've talked to, that I've tried to talk into being officials, that are like, oh no, the first time someone yelled something like that from the stands at me, it's going to be on. But we do try to talk about, try to block that out. Stay focused, stay mentally into the game, and know what you're doing. You know, and we just know that outside noise, that craziness, it's going to happen. Um, at Lincoln County last night with those two games over there, and the place is packed.
Yeah.
And I keep saying, not everybody can do it, and these guys sign up to do it just because they love it. Well, they make $80, for a varsity game last night, but they love being around the student athletes. They love being around the coaches and the athletic directors and the people they come in contact with. It's a little extra, exercise, but the camaraderie and quote, the fraternity of refereeing buddies, that they enjoy that. I will tell you, they watch a lot of clips of plays, because they want to know if they missed a call. They want to know, how do I get better? And as I tell them all the time, I can make a call in the game and feel certain I got it correct. And I can watch the clip the next day and replay that, and slow it down and watch it 10
Yeah.
times and think, oh, wow, I missed that. Just like, some nights teams play well and they hit the three and they hit their free throws and they play good defense. And some nights they don't play so well. We're the same way. Some nights
Yeah.
we grade out really high, and some nights we're not so good.
One of the things that you mentioned about was like that self grading and that self kind of reviewing and all of that. Is there like a process, like, as we were talking, you said, hey, I'm going to be at this game kind of evaluating. What does that evaluation process look like for you? And also, when you go back and grade them, do you all ever say, hey, like, you did miss this, or hey, this was a big call that you did miss, you can improve in this area, or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. I do it. So my goal is to see every official at least once. We have a process, and we talk about, whether it's their appearance, their mechanics, their judgment, their calling in their primary, those kinds of things. And so, I mean, literally, I talked to an official this morning who had a game last night, and his comment was, "We had three plays in the fourth quarter. I wasn't sure if we got them right or not." He had already got a copy of the game film. He had watched those three plays, two of which he was sure they got right, or felt like they did. But we do that continually. Coaches send me clips. The officials will get a copy of the game film themselves from the coaches if they can, and they go back and watch that. And so, you know, at the end of the year, coaches are allowed to rate these officials. There's an evaluation system that they go through.
Wow.
So
Okay.
they are rated by the coaches and they are rated by me. And that determines who is eligible to work postseason for district, then the region, and then the state tournament. So,
That's terrific information. I didn't know that. Wow.
yeah, yeah. So there is a system in place that's by the KHSAA, and the coaches are allowed to rate. And then just kind of as a side note, officials cannot referee the district tournament game in which they live. So in the 45th district, for example,
To keep biases away, correct?
we have 17 of our top officials that live in the 45th district. They can't work these games. They'll be working in the 46th, 47th, 48th, and vice versa.
That's I'm just soaking all that in because this is amazing news, and I'm so glad you're able to do this because I can get emotional at times about games and stuff because we've got fans and stuff like that. So again, the only other question I have aside is, do you all plan to stand in front of my camera every time I'm out there?
We don't like media.
That's no. I was thinking that. No,
No,
what I tell myself when I'm out there all the time is that we're both trying to find the best angle, and we both just somehow get it every time.
that's a great point. I like that. Yeah.
What do you think a message to the fans could be as we go forward with tournament play and as emotions run deep, and honestly, as it just kind of appears that the world of fandom gets a little hostile, right? Like, I mean, you look at a game last night with the University of Kentucky and Florida. Like, we fans are really close to the action and feel like they can just even touch players. And so, when emotions are high like that, and refs, they get off the court really quickly, like, because for protection of them. What is a message that we can give to like fans and even maybe athletic directors and students and all of those things? A message to everybody that watches these games and kind of feels that they should say something or something like that. I mean, is there anything that we can say to those people?
Well, and so it would be that kind of pie in the sky kind of thing of I tell people go and cheer for your team. I mean, give it all you got. I mean,
Yeah.
cheer like you've never cheered before. Pull for your team to win. You know, at the end of the day, those guys in stripes. I mean, we're human beings. We're out there doing the best we can do. Uh, the sportsmanship level at high school athletic events is it's the worst I've ever seen it. And so we talk about a shortage of officials. I mean, across the country, but we have a shortage of officials in this state. There are basketball games that have been canceled or had to be moved to a different date because we didn't have enough officials to cover the game. And at the end of the day, my question is, why would you want to do it? So we're out trying to recruit, we're trying to retain the guys we have, but you go and you get verbally abused. You have people, want to chase you off the floor. They want to call you names you've never been called before and think that's okay. And so, in your workplace, can you talk to people that way in your workplace and get by with it? Can you talk
Yeah.
to your family members and get by with it? Do you talk that way at church or wherever you may be? But it's okay to do it at a sporting event. I mean, why is
Mm.
so? They're doing the best they can. I promise you, I refereed 30 years. I never officiated a perfect game. You can go tonight and tomorrow night. Go next week to the regional tournament. You can watch the Kentucky games or Louisville games or whatever. They never officiate a perfect game, but they're trying the best they can to get as many calls correct and may the best team win. I'm not for Lincoln or Garrett or Bull or Danville or Wayne or Southwestern or Mercer, fill in the blank. But go cheer, be a great fan, and stop yelling at officials.
I mean, it's pretty much that simple, right? It's
I mean,
just,
it sounds simple.
and it's as simple as that, but also it's the fact that it stems off of this almost like online culture we have where it's like I can yell this and say this and there's going to be no repercussion.
Right.
And that's kind of and you're not going to sit there because if you just stop somebody on the sidewalk and yell these things that you say to these officials, you're going to get popped in the mouth or whatever else is going to happen. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
well, Scott, I can't thank you enough, sir. I really appreciate your help and or help in shedding light on this topic. And is there any way that I could possibly officiate a game to put myself in these
I'm
shoes?
gonna put you in the stripes. I'm gonna let you run up and down. I want you to see how it is.
I want you to hold me to it, sir. That'll be
All right.
awesome.
All
All right. Thank you
right.
so much for your time again, sir. And I'll talk to you very soon.